via enjoyment of life and a genuine sense of happiness, that it becomes apparent to each of us what is going to be most important for our lives. You see what I mean? And what's going to be the right type of, direction and trajectory for our lives from wherever our lives are right now. And so therefore, perhaps maybe as a society, we're still making happiness underrated, undervalued, in the sense that when we go to schools, I don't know about Nevada City, maybe a little exception. We have some pretty good schools here. But generally speaking, in public schools in particularly, but schools, we don't really get happiness training. And the thing about it is, happiness training exists. And it's existed for long, long amounts of times. And so now's a great time for all of us, but also here's the thing, happiness training never ends. It's not like you get trained and then it's like, all right, happy. It's never ending. And that's actually part of the joy. That's where the actual enjoyment of life comes from. Because it's always a discovery of how do I experience reality, real reality. Not a reality that I can figure out via any intellectual process alone. But reality that we can't even begin to describe with language. And therefore we'll make art and music, and that gets us kind of to where we can feel like we're making connectivity with reality. And meditation, we can start to feel like we're having some connectivity with reality. And we know it's reality because all of that is experientially based. It's not based on anyone's opinion. It's not based on anyone's religious ideologies or dogmas. It's just simple human love, the experience of love. But then the experience of love, when it starts to gain even more and more boundless type expressions, meaning that in an ordinary expression, my love is typically reserved to those that I vibe with, or those that I resonate with, in its ordinary expression, or those who are my family members. Because we got love sometimes with our certain family members, and we also don't vibe with them, but they're family. Is that just my family? Y'all don't have that? And so that's what His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and a very happy birthday week to him. So I'm so grateful he's on the planet right now. It's what he calls a biological compassion versus non-biased compassion. This is called happiness training. It's not even necessarily moralistic. It doesn't have to be. It's all right, what kind of disposition can I take so that my life is more happy? And not just happy dependent on things that I can't control. Meaning external stimuli I can't control. I can't control if things are going to be smooth in my life or really difficult. I can't control. I can only control the consciousness and the mind that is experiencing the experiences. So it's very much a waste of energy to try to control things that ultimately I can't control. And if I can control them, it's only for short, temporary amounts of time. And even if that's just even that's a complete single lifetime, I'm control it for a complete lifetime, which is not likely. Even that from a yogic perspective is really short, temporary. Because according to yogis, you've lived infinite lifetimes. And so therefore, I didn't mean to get so esoteric so quickly out in the park here today, but here we are. But it also could just be, it's kind of like hypotheses of biology. Why not have that as a hypothesis? We're not saying that is definitely the case, because the only thing that's definitely the case is when we can really experientially prove it's the case to ourselves. I don't know. I have a sense of things. But it's even still, if we're talking about it within the context of like happiness training, then it's useful. It's useful to explore, because it's really just the exploration of the mind and consciousness. And the body, and the reason we do the yoga practices and exercises and meditations, is really the terrain of the psyche and the mind and consciousness. And so therefore we can make more efficient transformation of our mental habits when we get the body involved and also we get the life force involved, the prana involved. And so then when you have your body and your life force and your mind all coming into a kind of synchronized harmony, you'll feel happy. Even if things suck, you'll still feel happy. Now, but can you sustain it? That's why the whole thing's very difficult. Because in order to sustain it, I would need to be doing something that would cause it to sustain. And what that generally means is I need to be consistent with whatever tool it is that I've found to help my happy, to help my the kind of internal chemistry, life force environment. And if I'm doing that well enough that even if I was very sick, it doesn't mean I'll necessarily lose my joy, because it's coming from a place that sickness doesn't touch. It's coming from a place that even suffering doesn't touch. Because if that's the space where I'm a little more consistently able to hang out, and it's really just the space of a little more reality. Isn't that a beautiful worldview, though? That the closer you get to reality, the more happy you get? It's a different type of conspiracy theory. You know what I'm saying? This one will not go viral. Because it's saying, like, at the nucleus of all this is there's love there. So, but it's not believe it or don't believe it, have an opinion on it, don't have an opinion on it. If it sounds interesting, try. Check, not try even this. Try to verify if that is the case. Is that possibly the case? That the deeper into reality you get, the happier you get. It's not the case necessarily in the short term, unfortunately.